Welcome to the Florida Department of Transportation's public hearing for the State Road 31 Project Development and Environment, or PD&E, study. We appreciate your attendance and participation. This public hearing is being conducted to give the public the opportunity to review and provide comments on the proposed preferred alternative and associated effects on the social, economic, cultural, natural, and physical environments. The purpose of this PD&E study is to evaluate engineering and environmental data and document information that will aid FDOT District 1 and the FDOT Office of Environmental Management, or OEM, in determining the type, preliminary design, and location of the proposed improvements. The study begins at State Road 80, Palm Beach Boulevard, and extends approximately 1.4 miles to State Road 78, Bayshore Road, in northeastern Lee County. The department proposes to widen this section of State Road 31, replace the Wilson Pigott Bridge over the Caloosahatchee River, and convert the existing State Road 31 State Road 80 intersection to a grade-separated configuration. The need for the proposed improvements to State Road 31 is based on existing and projected conditions, including the tremendous growth projected for Lee County. Due to its proximity to Interstate 75 and other destinations, the area is transitioning from agricultural and rural uses to suburban, including Babcock Ranch. Current average traffic volumes are predicted to increase to volumes that would exceed the typical maximum volumes for a two-lane roadway by the year 2045. The area continues to experience substantial growth, further increasing traffic and straining the corridor's capacity, resulting in more congestion and poor level of service, including at the State Road 31 State Road 80 intersection. In addition to traffic growth, State Road 31 currently does not provide accommodations for pedestrians and bicyclists. Also, improving the capacity of the roadway and maintaining the functionality of the bridge is important due to other special designations and functions. State Road 31 is a designated highway corridor of Florida's Emerging Strategic Intermodal System, or SIS, and a Tier 1 freight corridor of Lee County, with about 25% of existing traffic along the roadway composed of trucks. SIS facilities are those that are critical for regional and statewide movement of people and goods. The proposed project meets planning consistency. This means PD&E study documents are consistent with the project descriptions and information contained in state, regional, and local planning documents. Within the project limits, State Road 31 is a two-lane roadway with 12-foot lanes and 4 to 8-foot paved shoulders. Stormwater runoff is collected in roadside ditches with ultimate discharge to the Caloosahatchee River. The existing typical section does not meet SIS facility standards. The posted speed limit is 40 miles per hour. The Wilson Pigott Bridge currently has two 10-foot lanes, 4-foot shoulders, and 3.5-foot sidewalks on both sides with no separation from motor vehicles. The existing vertical clearance over the channel is 21 feet. Throughout this PD&E study process, FDOT evaluated many different concepts to improve capacity and operational conditions within the project study area, including at the State Road 31 State Road 80 intersection, and to identify a viable bridge replacement option. After environmental and engineering analyses and public and agency comments, many of these alternatives were eliminated. The last public meeting was an alternatives public meeting held on January 30th, 2023. At that meeting, we asked for your input on proposed improvements to State Road 31. Some of the feedback received included concern regarding potential impacts to businesses, noise, and questions about construction duration. Based on your comments and additional environmental and engineering analyses, a preferred alternative was selected for the State Road 31 project. The supporting technical documents available for your review provide more detailed information regarding the engineering and environmental evaluations. The preferred alternative for State Road 31 results in the following: widening the existing two-lane undivided roadway to a 6-lane divided roadway from State Road 80 to State Road 78, replacing the Wilson Pigott Bridge over the Caloosahatchee River, and reconfiguring the existing State Road 31, State Road 80 intersection to a grade-separated intersection. Please note that all materials for the preferred alternative in the following slides are on display here tonight and are available for viewing on the project website. The preferred alternative is a combination of widening existing State Road 31 from State Road 80 for about 0.7 miles, then shifting 300 feet east prior to the Wilson Pigott Bridge to minimize impacts to the existing Florida gas transmission line. This portion of the alignment will be located east of the existing two-lane roadway and the 50-foot Florida gas transmission easement. This project will tie into the current State Road 31 project from State Road 78 in Lee County to north of Cook Brown Road in Charlotte County at the northern terminus. The proposed speed limit is 45 miles per hour. The preferred alternative raises the roadway profile approximately 3 feet above existing State Road 31 due to the updated 100-year floodplain elevation in the project corridor. There are multiple typical sections, or how the roadway will look, associated with the proposed improvements. The typical section for the widening of State Road 31 north and south of the Wilson Pigott Bridge in the orange shaded area is shown here. The proposed improvement would consist of widening the two-lane roadway to 6 lanes and includes 3 11-foot lanes in each direction, separated by a 22-foot raised median with curb along the inside and outside lanes. A 12-foot wide shared-use path is proposed on each side of State Road 31 to accommodate pedestrians and bicyclists with a 9-foot utility strip between the back of curb and path. In accordance with Rule 1497 of the Florida Administrative Code, the proposed improvements will include a median to control the movements or access of turning traffic. These changes are presented in compliance with Section 335.199 Florida statutes, transportation projects modifying access to adjacent property. The proposed project would include modifying the existing access management classification along State Road 31 to Access Class 5. Spacing between driveways and side roads would be restricted to no closer than 245 feet. Spacing for median openings and signals would be restricted to no closer than 1,320 feet. This project will remove the existing drawbridge. The preferred alternative includes replacing the existing movable bridge with a high-level fixed bridge. The bridge will have 3 11-foot lanes in each direction, 8-foot shoulders, and 12-foot shared-use paths on each side. Pedestrians and bicyclists will be protected via a raised barrier and railing. This bridge will be 34 feet higher than the current bridge and will not disrupt traffic from drawbridge openings. The preferred alternative also includes reconfiguring the existing State Road 31, State Road 80 intersection to a grade-separated intersection. The grade separation will introduce 2 new bridges for State Road 31 and State Road 80 movements, and will also include a new signal at a crossover location on State Road 31. Southbound State Road 31 travelers, such as those coming from Lee Civic Center or Babcock Ranch, who want to go eastbound on State Road 80, will use the bridge and cross over at a new signal on State Road 31. Similarly, eastbound State Road 80 travelers, including those coming from Fort Myers who want to go northbound on State Road 31, will use the bridge and cross over at a new signal on State Road 31. This is an animated rendering of the new proposed configuration at the State Road 31, State Road 80 intersection. As seen in this animation, the elevated roadways and bridges will separate conflicting traffic movements between State Road 31 and State Road 80. This new configuration will improve traffic flow at this intersection by not requiring vehicles on State Road 80 to stop at the at-grade signal for heavy left turn movements. Please note that this is on display at tonight's hearing and is also available on the project website. The typical section on State Road 80 for the area just west of State Road 31, as shaded in orange, is shown here. This is how the roadway and ramp area will look entering the bridge from eastbound State Road 80 to travel northbound on State Road 31. The typical section shown here is how the bridge will look for the area shaded in orange for those traveling from eastbound State Road 80 onto the State Road 31 northbound bridge. Note, northbound traffic on State Road 31 will remain on the opposite side of the road until it crosses over halfway between LJ's Lounge and State Road 80. The area immediately north of the proposed bridges, as shown in orange, will have an elevated center roadway section as shown in the typical section. Note, the traffic in the raised section remains on the opposite side until it crosses over halfway between LJ's Lounge and State Road 80. The typical section shown here is how the bridge area shaded here in orange will look for those traveling along the State Road 31 southbound bridge onto eastbound State Road 80. The proposed typical section on State Road 80 just east of State Road 31, as shaded in orange, is shown here. This is how the roadway and ramp area will look along the bridge before it ties back to State Road 80 at grade. Throughout this study, a no-build alternative is also considered. The no-build alternative assumes that no improvements are made to State Road 31 through the year 2045, except for routine maintenance. There are advantages and disadvantages to the no-build alternative. Advantages of the no-build alternative include no impacts to the natural environment and no new costs for design and construction. Disadvantages of not implementing the proposed project are maintenance of the existing Wilson Pigott Bridge will become increasingly costly and disruptive. The no-build is not consistent with local transportation plans, and the no-build does not meet existing and future travel demand, address poor level of service and congestion at the State Road 31 and State Road 80 intersection, address bridge age, improve pedestrian safety along State Road 31, improve emergency evacuation, and enhance regional connectivity. The no-build alternative remains a valid option and will continue to be evaluated until the completion of this study. FDOT evaluated environmental and socioeconomic factors relating to proposed State Road 31 improvements in accordance with the National Environmental Policy Act of 1969, as amended, and other federal requirements. The evaluation considered the effects of the proposed project on protected species and habitat, wetlands and floodplains, water quality, stormwater management and permitting, air quality, right-of-way requirements and relocations, contamination, archaeological and historic resources, recreational sites, noise, land use, and construction effects. Protected species and habitats are allowed special protection under the Endangered Species Act of 1973 as amended and Florida statutes. FDOT assessed species within the project limits and through ongoing coordination with U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has determined that the proposed project may affect but is not likely to adversely affect the existence of certain federally listed threatened or endangered species. The animal species include the small-toothed sawfish, eastern indigo snake, green sea turtle, Hawksbill sea turtle, leatherback sea turtle, loggerhead sea turtle, Audubon's crested caracara, wood stork, and West Indian manatee. The project may affect the Florida bonneted bat, but this requires further coordination with federal agencies to confirm. In addition, no adverse effects are anticipated for the following state-listed threatened or endangered species: gopher tortoise, Florida sandhill crane, least tern, little blue heron, reddish egret, roseate spoonbill, tricolored heron, southeastern American kestrel. Coordination with U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service regarding the final status of these species is ongoing. If the preferred alternative is approved by the Office of Environmental Management, FDOT District 1 will continue to work closely with environmental agencies in future phases, such as design and construction, to meet all environmental permitting requirements. FDOT evaluated wetlands within the project limits in accordance with Executive Order 11990, Protection of Wetlands. The proposed improvements may directly affect approximately 15.3 acres of wetlands, indirectly affect 5.2 acres of wetlands, and 7.3 acres of surface waters. The department will take all practical measures to minimize harm to this area. The department will mitigate wetland impacts resulting from this project's construction to meet requirements of Florida statutes and the United States Code. The project has been evaluated for potential floodplain involvement in accordance with Executive Order 11988, Floodplain Management. There is no significant change in flood risk as a result of the proposed widening, and minimal impacts are expected to the 100-year floodplain. There is no significant change in flood risk, nor is there significant change in the potential for interruption or termination of emergency services or emergency evacuation routes due to flooding. Results of the environmental contamination screening showed that 2 sites were ranked high, 5 sites were ranked medium, and 12 sites were ranked low for potential contamination. For the sites that are ranked low for contamination, no further action is required at this time. For the sites with a risk ranking of high or medium, the FDOT project manager and the district contamination impact coordinator will coordinate on further actions during the design phase that must be taken to address contamination issues. Before construction, specially trained crews will address contamination in these areas as required. The effects of traffic noise associated with the preferred build alternative have been evaluated in accordance with Title 23 Code of Federal Regulations, Part 772, and with the FDOT PD&E Manual. Based on the results of the traffic noise analysis, there are no highway traffic noise impacted land uses within the project area that require abatement consideration. A cultural resource assessment survey was conducted in accordance with the National Historic Preservation Act of 1966 and Florida statutes. Archaeologists and historians identified no archaeological sites and 6 potential historic resources in the project area. One resource, the Caloosahatchee River Canal, was determined eligible for listing in the National Register of Historic Places. The State Historic Preservation Officer determined that this project would have no adverse effect to this historic resource. The project team examined the project area for publicly owned properties that may be affected under Section 4F of the Department of Transportation Act of 1966. There are 2 4F resources in the project vicinity, the Caloosahatchee Trail and the Great Colusa Blueway. A portion of the Caloosahatchee Trail, a 10-foot multi-use path on the north side of State Road 80, may experience temporary impacts during construction. This existing trail occurs fully within the existing FDOT right-of-way, and the primary purpose established by FDOT for the trail is transportation. The proposed improvement of State Road 31 includes a 12-foot multi-use trail to support the trail system. There are no anticipated impacts to the Great Colusa Blueway. It is anticipated that this project will not cause any relocation of families or businesses. All right-of-way acquisition will be conducted in accordance with Florida Statute 339.09 and the Federal Uniform Relocation Assistance and Real Property Acquisition Act of 1970, commonly known as the Uniform Act. The right-of-way specialists who are supervising this program are here tonight and will be happy to answer your questions. An evaluation matrix showing a detailed comparison of the preferred alternative and the no-build alternative is provided in the project handout and is also on display here this evening. The matrix shows potential effects to the social, cultural, natural, and physical environments and identifies preliminary costs. The estimated costs to make the proposed improvements from State Road 80 to State Road 78 include $162.9 million for final design and construction, $2.1 million for wetland mitigation, and $22.7 million for right-of-way acquisition and stormwater management areas. The cost for construction engineering and inspection is estimated at $19.5 million. The department's preliminary estimate of total project cost is $207.2 million. The department anticipates completion of this PD&E study by spring 2024. The schedule is on display this evening. The right-of-way phase is funded. Construction is not funded at this time. We encourage you to review project information tonight and provide us your feedback. All comments should be submitted or postmarked by November 12, 2023, to become a part of the formal hearing record. You can submit comments verbally or in writing tonight via the project website or by email or U.S. mail to the project manager. All hearing materials presented tonight are available to the public on the project website and will remain posted for your review. The project technical documents are also available for review in person here tonight. Project documents will also be available for public viewing during normal business hours at the locations shown. Please visit the project website at www.swflroads.com/project/441-942-1 for the latest study information, schedule, and upcoming events. This PD&E study is being conducted and completed according to the requirements of the National Environmental Policy Act and other related federal and state laws, rules, and regulations, which will qualify future phases of this project for federal funding. And this hearing was advertised consistent with those requirements. Please see the statute display board for all other applicable requirements. This hearing is also conducted in accordance with the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990 and with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and related statutes. Anyone who feels he or she has been discriminated against with regard to race, color, national origin, age, sex, religion, disability, or family status may complete one of the forms located at the sign-in table and mail the completed form to the address listed on the poster board. And finally, an FDOT safety moment. FDOT reminds you, please don't text and drive. FDOT thanks you for making safety a continued priority. Thank you for your interest and participation in the State Road 31 Project Development and Environment Study public hearing and for taking the time to join us this evening.